888-808-1019. Got a great show for you today. So apparently, we're either getting 1 to 3 inches of snow or we're getting 19 to 24 inches of snow, but nobody knows.
Is that
Nobody
all?
knows. Good afternoon, Big Mac. How are you, kid?
What's going on, Craig? How are you?
It's funny. I tell my wife all the time.
Do you?
When it's cold outside, she's either getting 3 or she's getting 7. But it just depends on what room of the house that we're in. It's always a surprise. Yeah. And by the way, my age is a surprise to me, too.
Whether or not it's you or her brother-in-law. That's the difference.
I'm like, wait, what happened? Who brought a friend into the room? Oh, we got a great show for you today. I'm not sure why Marlon Jackson's coming by today, but he'll be in studio today, one of the Jackson 5. Yeah. And then I'll be ripped online for not talking sports for 10 minutes when Marlon is here. Looking forward to that later on.
Sports with him.
But there is something brewing right now. Every now and then in the sports world, the world is just right. And like the planets are aligned, the sky looks right, and you just know like you're living your life right because things that are predictable happen in the predictable manner. Yankees make the playoffs every single year. That's like we're living right. We're living good, right? Something happened today, Big Mag, that I think is so perfect. I had to lead the show off with you, okay? And I'm going to get to the Knicks last night. Don't worry. I know in this radio station it's been about 8 consecutive hours of the Knicks suck. Karl-Anthony Towns sucks. We're not tough enough. Detroit, we suck. We'll get to the Knicks in just a second, okay? Because last night was obviously a bad game at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. But they
got their ass kicked.
Absolutely right. You want to start with the Knicks? That's fine.
No.
By the way, I got no problem with that.
No. You start where you want to start.
I'm okay with starting with the Knicks.
No, I'm just saying they got their ass kicked. That's
the Knicks got their ass kicked last night.
We'll talk about it.
We also had the same situation last year with the Boston Celtics. That
is true.
And had no problem dispatching the Celtics. And don't tell me about Tatum's Achilles. That series was a wrap.
100%.
Before the Achilles went for Jason Tatum. And I'll start Knicks. I'll get to the other thing in a second. Last night's game stunk. Last night's game is a microcosm of everything wrong when the Knicks are not playing good basketball. Last night's game has zero impact on whether or not the New York Knicks win a championship this year. The Detroit Pistons, and it frustrated me listening to the radio station today, it's not just that the Pistons are currently the 1 seed in the East. That's true. The Detroit Pistons are the best team in basketball. They're better than the Thunder right now. They're better than the Spurs right now. And they are the number 1 team in the NBA. And they've got a guy playing better basketball than the majority of the leading Cade Cunningham, a legitimate bona fide superstar. Now, yes, I know. 2 of their guys weren't playing last night. That's a part of the story of why Knicks fans are so upset. I'm with you on that 100%. But the New York Knicks last night missed almost 30 three-point shots. Almost 30. I think the number was 27 when it was all said and done. And yes, Karl-Anthony Towns did not play great last night other than about a 90-second stretch early third quarter, I think it was, where he had 10 straight points for the Knicks, had the 4-point play on the foul on the 3, and all of a sudden the Knicks cut the lead to 4, and we were back. And then, of course, the Detroit Pistons took over. Look, this is an imperfect team. But if I hear one more person call this radio station talking about this wouldn't have happened with Tom Thibodeau, this did happen with Tom Thibodeau, except the Pistons were the Boston Celtics, right? So let's stop this crap about how Mike Brown can't coach and this team never would have allowed this to happen if there was Tom Thibodeau. There's a fact that we have to get our heads around. And I said this to you, I think the day we started this show, back on January 5th, there's one team from day one that I was afraid of this year in a 7-game series, and that team is whom, Big Mac?
The Detroit Pistons.
And it's playing itself out to be exactly that. But if the New York Knicks shoot the ball a little bit better, and I know OG's got that toe issue, so maybe he's not 100%.
And he hadn't played in a while. Yeah. He was just off.
The Knicks are going to be fine. And I say that because as long as we hang on to the 2 seed, and in theory the 3 seed gives us the same kind of route to an NBA final, the Knicks are going to play the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals for the right to go to the NBA championship, right?
I mean, yes.
I mean, that's the reality.
We all assume that's what would happen. Yeah.
So, last night sucked, and last night's frustrating, and we saw a lot of the microcosms of the 9-game losing streak, as we turn the page from 2025 to 2026 and lost 9 out of 11. I'm with you on all that stuff. But what happened to us as New York sports fans
don't do that.
where we panic now in February? We're panicking. Oh, no, it's over. We can't beat Detroit. You guys said the same exact thing last year against the Celtics, and we took care of business against the Celtics.
No, yeah, I think both can be true, Craig.
Go.
Yes, right? They got their ass kicked by the Celtics last year. They went on and beat them in the postseason. I said this yesterday during the, my part of the show.
Yeah.
Like, last night did not change the idea that they can beat the Pistons in a postseason series. I agree. But there are some troubling things. And first off, just to say, like, the Knicks were supposed to be the best team in the East. Like, you could say the season's played out, and now the Pistons are. The Pistons made sure, not only by their record, but the way they've come into now the building and with the Knicks, they have kicked the crap out of the Knicks. They're the best team in the East. So now it's the Knicks looking up towards the Pistons. It's no longer the pesky Pistons. The Knicks have to go beat the better team in the Detroit Pistons. So let's establish that, because that's different than what we've been echoing for months. Well, they're the best team in the East. I know they don't have the best record, but they're the best team in the East. No, they're not.
Nope.
The Detroit Pistons are the best team in the East. So let's just start there. Doesn't mean they can't beat them, but let's just start there. Second of all, I do think it's slightly different than the Celtics in the only aspect. And again, I agree with you. It doesn't mean they can't beat them. But it feels like this Pistons team has taken on a moniker of not only, it's not about winning a championship, it's about beating the Knicks. Like, they are, like, you can tell. The Celtics were just better, and the Celtics beat them, and the Celtics outplayed them in those games. The Pistons are out to beat the Knicks. That is their goal in life.
Correct.
That's what
because
it feels
the
like.
Knicks beat them
and
last year.
Cunningham, they're pissed off at that series,
Yeah.
and Cunningham is playing at another level.
Yeah.
And he is, right now, when they play, he's the best player on the floor, not Jalen Brunson.
By the way,
right? So
there's no quarrel with that at all. But stop for a second. Stop for 1 sec. So the Celtics last year won more than 60 games.
Yes.
They won 61 games last year. The Cavs were the 1 seed. They won 64 games, all right? So what's funny about that is when we went into last year's season and last year's playoffs, I would tell you, as great as Jalen Brunson is, no one's going to argue the fact that Jason Tatum was the best player on the court every time they played against each other. Is that fair to say?
During the regular season?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the comparison is similar. Cade Cunningham, you are right, is the best player on the court when the Knicks play the Pistons, all due respect to the greatness of Jalen Brunson. But he is not the best player on the basketball court, because Cade Cunningham is. A year ago, as great as Jalen Brunson was, he was never the best player on the court because Jason Tatum was. So it is a perfect comparison. Now, I'm not telling you that the Knicks are going to show up in the postseason, go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and beat the Detroit Pistons in 5 or 6 games, because I don't believe that. But I'm going to tell you that if you think last night is and I'm not saying you're saying this, I'm saying more globally.
No, I get it.
And all the phone calls and some of the hosts today here and on TV and on podcasts and whatnot who are now saying it's a wrap. It's just stupid.
It is stupid.
Like the Knicks are going to win 50 games this year. They're going to be the 2 or 3 seed.
You said yesterday,
and we'll roll the dice.
You said yesterday you want to make a statement.
I did, and we didn't.
A statement was made.
I agree.
No, a statement was made.
I agree, and I'm upset about it.
They're the better team. The Knicks are going to have to figure something out between now and then, because right now the Pistons are better.
Yes.
Okay? It doesn't mean they can't beat them. It doesn't mean this game necessarily means anything.
Yes.
It means they're playing better basketball the entire season and head-to-head. They're the better team. So now the Knicks have to – they're no longer, we're the best team even without the best record.
Yeah.
Pistons are the better team.
By the way, when you and I sat here yesterday, I didn't say anything contrary to that.
No, you're right.
The Detroit Pistons are the best team in basketball. Right. And I wanted to make a statement. We were favored last night by 4.5, and I thought last night's game, while not a must-win game, was a statement game so that Detroit would leave New York and, at least in the back of their minds, have to say, it ain't going to be as easy as we might have thought. We failed in that mission. You and I are in lockstep on that. We failed. And if you want to just take last night's game and solely talk about that individual game, I'm happy to do that with you guys today. And we can rip Karl-Anthony Towns, and we can take shots at their poor shooting from behind the arc and all the things that went wrong last night. But I think you got to talk about this more globally. We got 26 games to go. Last night's game stunk. We did not send a message. To the contrary, they sent the message to us. They're the big dogs in the East. If we want to win a championship, we got to win a Game 7 in Detroit to do it. I'm with you 100%.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, but that's not – the other thing is Karl-Anthony Towns. You mentioned it. We could blame a lot of people. Karl-Anthony Towns, and this doesn't have to be a Mike Brown versus Tibbs thing. This is just the idea. They're down 2 big men. And Karl-Anthony Towns is nowhere to be found.
Yep.
And I understand a lot of us think he should be, in the box, calling for the ball. We should see more of an aggressive nature out of Karl-Anthony Towns. But there was no effort at all from either Jalen Brunson or the coach scheming up this game to attack the weakness of the Pistons with our second best player. They're down 2 bigs.
Yep.
And our second best player, quote unquote, the second superstar they went out and traded for to make this a championship level team, it's not even a thought to run the game through him and to see how he can attack this team.
Yep.
Not even a thought.
Yeah.
He didn't score a basket until a couple minutes left.
He only took a few shots in the first half.
He wasn't involved.
I agree.
That's a major problem.
So here's the question that's a fair talking point, because you had an opportunity, at least on paper, we thought, to dominate the glass, dominate the low post.
Didn't even attempt it.
Now, Reed played very well defensively last night, but you're right. We came into this game saying, what's our advantage in this game? And that's size down low and a chance to abuse them on the glass, right? So my question then, because it's a great point, the question then is one of 3 people you can look at.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mike Brown's got to take heat for that. Why wasn't the game plan to establish an identity in the post and abuse them on the glass? Great question. I'm not sure if that question was asked or not.
Yeah.
The guys are checking for me right now.
Well,
all right, the second person you can blame is the floor general.
Yeah.
Why isn't Jalen Brunson making a point of getting the ball down low so that we can take advantage of what should have been a mismatch that turned out not to be? And then the third one is the one I think most people are going to gravitate towards, and that is Karl-Anthony Towns ain't that guy. At Karl-Anthony Towns, you're right, as a superstar who played in the All-Star game, Karl-Anthony Towns has to demand the basketball, not 25 feet from the goal. And I know he's a great three-point shooter for a big man, and he did have that 4-point play that got the Knicks within 4 at the time. I think it was like 62-58. But the reality is that he should have demanded the rock in the low post. So, of those 3, obviously we can blame all 3 of them. But who do you focus more of the blame on? The coach?
Yes.
The point guard, or the big man that didn't ask for the ball?
To me, the coach.
Okay.
Karl-Anthony Towns, unfortunately, right? Whatever we want to look at it, Karl-Anthony Towns is not the guy who's going to demand the ball in the post. Like he's not that guy, right?
He likes it outside.
He likes it outside, and he's not going to be the guy. We have seen that.
And to be fair, his game is better facing the basket than with his back to the basket.
No doubt, it is. That's his better game. But the problem is, like, part of the reason, at least I thought, maybe I was mistaken, Brown coming here was to get the best out of Karl-Anthony Towns and Brunson on the floor at the same time.
Yep.
That was a major problem. Wasn't the only reason he was brought here. Communications, everything other that we've heard about why Tibbs was out and he's brought in. But this offense should not be so, and you said you didn't hear any quotes. The one quote we heard from Karl-Anthony Towns was, well, the offense is the offense.
Right.
Like we ran our offense, that's it. But that shouldn't be you should be able to have some sort of chameleon ability to your offense to go and attack the weakness of your opponent.
Yep.
The Knicks have none of that. The Knicks put up a bunch of threes, and if they miss them, they lose. And Karl-Anthony Towns is this can't guard, hardest guard in the NBA. He can beat you from behind the arc. He can beat you down low. He's a unique player. He's not involved when their 2 best bigs are down. I just don't understand.
It's a great question for Mike Brown.
There is no ability to make a game plan change to go attack. If the ball movement's there and the shots are falling, the Knicks are dangerous. If it's not, they don't win. Now, look, that's a problem.
I know you can't look at the final score and say, oh, they lost with this by 12 was the final number.
It wasn't even a game.
Obviously, Detroit took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter, which is non-competitive. So I'm not going to look at the final score and say that's indicative that the Knicks were closer than they were in the game. They got blown out by whatever was a 30 in Detroit. And the Knicks are an imperfect team for sure. It is fair for me to say that what you just alluded to, if we miss 33-point shots, we're not going to win a lot of games.
Correct.
But
that's a huge part of the game.
But there's a big but in that. How many games are we going to play in which we shoot 12% from behind the arc?
No.
Like, how many games are we going to play where we're missing 33-point shots? I think we made 7 in total last night. Defense wasn't great. Cat wasn't great. I know Brunson had 33. I didn't think he was all that great for a good portion of the game either. And it's a single loss that I hope resonates with them. The next 5 games over the next 8 or 9 days are some interesting opponents. You got the Cavs. First time we'll see them with James Harden, obviously. You got the Rockets in town. They're obviously making a push for seeding out west. So it's going to be very interesting basketball. And if we think we're just going to roll the ball out there and miss 33s and not play good defense and stroll into the playoffs, a top 2 seed, that ain't the case. And the Celtics aren't going anywhere. we're behind the Celtics by a couple games now in the loss column. The Boston Celtics are arguably the best coached team in all of basketball, but it's just frustrating to me
I hear you.
when people just start watching basketball maybe like yesterday, and all of a sudden they're so definitive in what the global problem is for the Knicks. Last night's game was easy, man. What you said, which is a great point. You've got a team missing their two best big men, and we make no attempt to take advantage of that. That is a great question for Mike Brown. I'm not sure if it was asked or not. If it was, we'll try to find it. If not, I imagine it'll be asked next time he speaks to the media. Number one. Number two, what the F is wrong with Karl-Anthony Towns where we can't get consistency out of him more than a couple games at a time, and he has had a couple games where he's been our best player on the court. And then three, how serious is that toenail injury to OG Anunoby? Because he doesn't look like himself.
Yeah,
he became the best corner three shooter in basketball.
Yeah,
the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, he was just
and
off
obviously
last
he's
night.
just
I don't
not
know
right.
if it was too much energy. I don't know what it was. I mean, he was throwing up bricks all night.
Yeah.
None of them looked good. I mean, they were just.
Dude, we missed 33-point shots.
No, they missed a lot of threes. There was no doubt. To your point, it means nothing in the long scheme of things. If these two teams face off again in a couple of months, this game means absolutely nothing. I'm not averse to that.
Yeah.
I don't think last night is an indicator that they can't beat this team. Yeah. But I will just say it feels like the Pistons are on a mission to beat the Knicks, not just win an NBA championship. And for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe that's just being silly. It feels like that to me.
I can tell you why.
Well, I mean, I know why, but I'm saying I don't know why. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal of that than I should.
I think
but
you
it just,
are.
I
think they'd rather win the championship.
Well, I get it. I understand that.
And I think the reason is
Cunningham isn't a great three-point shooter. Last night he's hitting every freaking shot. He's taking over the game. They came out with an energy that was unmatched by the Knicks.
And by the way, we had the entire All-Star break like
the
they did.
Quarter.
Where that first quarter stunk. Like we were trailing from damn near Jump Street in that game. And frankly, I'm thinking back now, watching it last night, and I got home about 5 minutes into the first quarter. I was listening to it. I don't think we ever had a lead last night.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying after the first quarter.
No, after the first quarter, no.
I don't think there was a single time when we had the lead. I'll do you one better. I don't remember. I know we got it to 4. I'm not sure if we even got it down to one possession after the first quarter.
I don't think
you can fact check me on that, but the point is,
I don't think
Detroit came. And they were just as rested as we were, and they just looked fresher. They looked better. They looked tougher, and that's a problem.
And
for us.
It gets worse than that. Just since you were mentioning the lead in the games, I heard Evan give a stat. They have not outscored the Detroit Pistons in a single quarter in any of the 3 games.
Yeah, but
all
I don't
12
so
quarters.
I mean, that's just
I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. That says him being a douche.
I understand that.
That's his anti-Nick rhetoric.
But
that's
I'm saying,
all that is.
My point is it keeps getting worse.
Come on, we've lost by double digits every game. Why would you think we'd have a lead after a quarter? By the way, why does it matter if we had a lead after the first quarter a month ago? I tell you, I love Evan to death. That's Evan Roberts trolling us as Knicks fans.
Down that road about getting back into the game. It was never close. They never had a lead. These games, none of them have been close.
But don't allow Evan to troll you. That's what he's doing.
Okay.
He hates the Knicks.
I understand.
And he's got a minor league team that he roots for. So the only basketball joy he gets is trolling us. When you lose every game by double digits, why would you add a stat to that? Oh, and guess what, guys? You've never even had a lead after any quarter of any game.
No.
Yeah, no ass, buddy.
No. And not even a lead.
Yeah.
No, every quarter they've lost that individual quarter.
Because we don't play well against the Pistons.
I'm just saying. Okay.
That's a troll job. So I hate Evan Roberts. Nah.
And I know. I wouldn't have brought it up, but you were talking about the idea of getting back into the game. Every quarter gets worse.
Yeah, and by the way, what was it like Santa Claus come by here today?
A lot of just random things laying around.
I see everybody walking out of the building today with gifts. Evan's got like Met hats, and he's got like 16-ounce mugs. I see Jerry now walking out of the building with Milwaukee power tools.
Yeah.
I'm saying to myself, like, what was today, like free day? Is that what it was? Was today
Free Stuff Day?
Yeah, Free Stuff Day? Or did Boomer come back from his 3-week vacation and thought it was still December? So he's like, I like playing Santa Claus. Free gifts on me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see anything on my desk.
No. And yesterday we got the Team USA sweat.
Yeah.
That was a hoodie.
Yeah.
I thought that was a jersey.
I was going to wear it today, but other people wore it, so,
Oh, did they? Who?
Can't wear it now. I think Greg wore his yesterday.
Yeah.
While I'll tell you something about my friend Greg Giannotti. There's a picture that was put out from the morning show. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or today. I saw it today. That guy ogles food the way you look at the Yankees and the way I look at porn.
Okay.
Like, I'm worried about him. There was, I guess, a table of food put out there I think yesterday,
I
maybe
think the last 2 days.
maybe
there's
today.
been
I don't
some
know.
food, yeah.
And there's a still photograph of Greg standing in front of a platter of food, frothing at the mouth, the way you are today with the Yankees starting spring training.
We're back.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it going, can someone give that guy a burger? It's like I'd never seen food before. Like, oh, this is food. It's like when the cavemen discovered fire.
Yeah.
And you take a look at the picture. I'm sure it's on the morning show account.
Yeah.
And I was like, does he not eat?
Well, he's lost some weight. So maybe
yeah,
he's, maybe
he found
he's dieting.
Anyhow, we got a great show for you today. I was going to open with something else, but I'll get to that a little bit later on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
no.
We're still new together. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. All I said was they got their ass kicked.
I know,
You went
but I had a whole thing. Like, as you may know now,
Okay.
I plan things.
I see.
There's certain times of day, there's certain things I want to talk
Yeah.
about because I know it works.
Okay.
And now my whole clock's off.
Okay. Well, can I suggest something?
What?
So
share that with you?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, then this might happen from time to time.
I'm sure it will.
Okay.
I'm sure it
just
will.
saying. Greg, what are you
can't.
thinking? We'll talk. Okay.
And every day, Big Mac comes into our office and he goes, so what do we have today?
What are
and
we thinking?
I go,
What are we
you'll
thinking to
find out at
start?
2 o'clock.
Yeah. So I
That way it's fresh.
I
I don't want to
hear
waste
you.
great
I
content off
understand.
air.
I agree with that
There you
fundamentally.
go.
But every once in a while, then I'm not going to know the plan, and I might just throw out a one-liner like the Knicks got their ass kicked.
Yeah, well, you
and
did.
apparently threw it all off.
Yeah, threw everything off today. But that's fine. We'll start with the Knicks.
That's really not a bad idea.
I'll get
today.
to the Mets being back in the Wilpon era, which they are again today. I'll get to that. Yeah, that was my lead.
Evan was
Yeah.
not happy with you. I got a whole earful about how, it's unfair to say that about the money being spent.
Why?
And,
This guy, he made $3.5 billion last year, and he lost his best
it wasn't
closer
over
at $3 million.
It wasn't over the money. I
no.
walked into a buzzsaw.
He went for more money. Edwin Diaz got $3 more million from the Dodgers. Don't tell me it wasn't about money. If the Dodgers offered him less, he'd be a Met. If the Mets offered him more, he'd be a Met. But they chose not to because, he didn't want to spend his $3.5 billion.
Evan didn't want to hear
Well,
it.
Evan's going to love the story I've got today because the Mets took a major step backwards today. I honestly thought we were back in the Wilpon era today.
Really?
Wait till you hear the most on-brand story in all of sports happened today, and it involves the Mets. And it was like a blast from the past, like it was the Jeff and Fred Wilpon era all over again.
Oh, boy.
Wait till I tell you the Mets embarrassment. And there's no arguing it. This is a prototypical, stereotypical Mets story that took place a few hours ago, and you are going to love it. All right?
All right.
We got that. We got the gals winning gold yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We got Marlon Jackson coming by. We got lots to do. 888-808-1019. Let me just quickly say hi to Louie in Long Branch. Louie, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I've called in about 3 times, but I never spoke to you.
Thank you.
Now, listen to me real quick.
Yeah.
You are a power example to me.
Thank you.
I built the Taj Mahal, trust me.
By yourself?
Okay.
What I lost, I haven't gambled in 19 years.
Got it. Good.
So, that's one thing. But let's go to the Knicks.
Yeah.
I'm 76 years old.
My man.
I'm a diehard Knicks fan.
Uh-huh.
I've been watching them forever.
Yeah.
The beginning of the season,
Yeah.
they were really growing.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like I know their problem.
What is their problem? You're going to say Mike Brown? Yeah, saw that coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Do you notice how well Detroit is coached?
Look, when you win a game the way they won last night, obviously everyone's going to say, we got out-coached, outplayed, and congratulations on your recovery as well. I do appreciate that story. Look, Mike Brown got out-coached last night. But to be fair, the Knicks got outplayed last night. Cade Cunningham said after the game, and I'm not sure if I'm going to argue with him, and he said about himself, I'm the best American-born player in the league right now. Now, there's a handful of guys that would probably lay claim to that or want to lay claim to that, but that's not the point. The point is, when you come to Madison Square Garden and you drop 42, 8, and 13, you should feel like I'm the greatest American-born player because look what I just did in the Mecca. Right?
Right.
So Cade Cunningham was the #1 overall pick by the Pistons, and for the first 2 years of his career, everybody said, who? And now he's flourished into one of the great players in basketball, and he had his way with us last night. Period. Stop.
Nope.
Now, is that a Mike Brown situation? Yeah, partially. But Mike Brown ain't making $80 million a year playing basketball either. At some point, you either want to play good fundamental basketball, you know your assignments, you know where you're supposed to be, and you go play basketball. And the frustrating thing is that we've seen the Knicks do both this year. We've seen the Knicks be a dominant team where they win 9 out of 10, and it looks like they're unstoppable. And we've seen the exact opposite. And that's why it's frustrating, because we know they're good enough to win and beat anybody.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, we know on certain nights they're bad enough to lose to anybody and everybody. Yeah. And that's why this team is so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, but to me, Mike Brown has an edict now for the rest of the season.
Go.
They're not going to win if this is the Karl-Anthony Towns we're going to get.
Agreed.
It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
So some way, somehow, they have got to figure out a way to either cater the offense towards him at times. Mm-hmm. They've got to figure out a way to get him engaged. They have to figure out a way to get their second superstar playing like at least a borderline superstar, or they're not going to win. So that's it. He has got to figure out a way, whether it's forcing it on Karl-Anthony Towns, whether it's challenging him, whatever the case may be, something needs to change with how Karl-Anthony Towns is coached, how Karl-Anthony Towns is playing, and how Karl-Anthony Towns affects the basketball game.
Yep.
So until then, I got to admit, I thought that was part of Brown's job. So far, that part of the job is a failure.
888-808-1019. That's the number to join. It's the Carton Show. Big Mac. Get all your calls. Coming up, a lot of Knicks stuff today. We will get to the Yankees later today. Of course, they opened up spring training. Big Mac's been watching every pitch, so he's a little distracted today, but he's as happy as a clam, I can tell you that.
Jazz with the first base hit of the season.
There you go.
So there you go.
We've got the embarrassing Mets story coming up. We got Marlon Jackson coming up. We got great college basketball this weekend coming up.